In this episode of Travelogue, we continue our 10-part Pearl River journey, sharing with you the county of Xunwu. We discover rock temples and a rock trade while on a grueling expedition in search of something deceptively small that sustains millions of lives. This is Episode 6, Xunwu. The Pearl River, known in Chinese as the Zhujiang, with its eastern, western and northern tributaries, is actually a vast river system, the third longest river in China and the second largest by volume. Today, we're heading upstream through Xunwu. G'day! Yep, it's me again, Zhui, on this epic 10-part Pearl River journey. Now, last episode, you would have been in Guangdong province, exploring the Beijiang, which is the northern tributary of the Pearl River. This episode, we're in Jiangxi province, and we're exploring the Dongjiang, which is the eastern tributary. Now, we're in a county called Xunwu, and Xun, the first character, means to search for, and that's exactly what we're going to be doing. We're going to be searching for the source of the Dongjiang and following its banks and trying to discover everything this place has to offer. So this is where our part of the adventure starts. This is where the Dongjiang connects both Guangdong and Jiangxi provinces. My name is Zhui, and you're watching Travelogue. Join us. It's estimated that the Dongjiang directly supplies the industrial, domestic and ecological water used by 40 million people in the region. In fact, Hong Kong obtains around 80% of its water from the Dongjiang. So, Hong Kong residents, rest assured that it undergoes regular checks. 你们现在是在做什么？我们在做水质检测。哦，检测。这个是量什么东西的？量水的 pH 值的。pH， 哎呀呀呀呀！现在有7点多。7点多，现在7点。7点多。你们现在这个东江的水质怎么样？我们这边水质挺好的。我们都是达国家2级地面水、地表水2级标准，达到了生活饮用水。对，我们这里的水都流到珠江，供那个广东人、香港人生活饮用水。对，都是我们这里。对，一定要达标了。Well, now that I know the water's good, the second most important thing is, obviously, the food. And here in Shikong village, I've heard there's honking high-quality Hakka Hakka. Modern-day Hakka people are Han Chinese, who share a common language and ancestry. Hakka literally means guest families, a name supposedly derived from the early mass migrations from China's north to the country's south. But today, I'm their guest, and I want to try everything.
对，这边就往这边推，然后推到那边往这边拉。对，要顺这个圆心。
Oh, I think I got it. And after making a goose of myself, I venture into the kitchen to check out what's on the menu today. Well, every day at Mr. Kwang's restaurant, their special Hakka goose banquet is served, where they pretty much chop and cook up every single bit of the bird. It's called 一鹅九吃, which means one goose, 9 ways of eating. From its innards to its head and skin, all its edible parts are creatively crafted into 9 different dishes. I mean, even its blood is eaten, coagulated in cubes. Hakka cuisine is a very home-style type of cooking, but this feast is fit for poultry-loving royalty.
这个是豆腐，这个就是你刚才用石磨磨的那个豆腐，然后用那个鹅肉做的那个馅，叫客家酿豆腐。客家人是不是？特别喜欢吃这个豆腐，对，很环保、很健康的食物。
That is good tofu. When I was a kid, I wasn't so much a fan of tofu, but the older I get, I think I realize its health benefits. And it's not so bad. And it's stuffed with meat, so it's even better. As well as their glorious goose gastronomy, Hakkas are well known for their hospitality, which involves some harmless force feeding and glass clinking. So the Hakka people, you know, they're not an ethnic group, nor are they united by geography or even a religion. So I think they find a lot of their identity comes from the cuisine. And, you know, it's something tangible and edible that they can pass down from generation to generation and also share with others. It's a great part of the culture. It's really delicious. The Hakka population in this part of Jiangxi province is especially large, so it's not unusual to see architecture like this, the Hakka Way. These multi-family communal complexes are fortified residences that were designed to defend the occupants in times of war or clan conflict. It's perfect timing for me to find myself in the Wang family compound in Zhui village, where my feathered friends and I can shelter from the drizzle. Xunwu has a subtropical monsoon climate, mild and humid, with abundant rainfall, so the shower comes as no surprise. In fact, it's good feng shui. These open roofs, by allowing the water to collect indoors, are symbolically believed to be gathering money. Well, it seems back then, this family was doing okay. Gosh, you know, these stones were carved more than 200 years ago. In the eyes of the Hakkas, building your home was a matter of utmost importance. It was one of the ways to honor your ancestors. Well, I would say these square, symmetrical and earthquake-resistant Weiwu in Zhoutian village would make their forefathers proud. Once upon a time, a rice and salt trading route ran through this village, so it became quite prosperous. Many of the residents were able to build these enormous and rather extravagant family compounds. Now, this one belonged to a rich and influential Hakka family, and it was built in the Qing dynasty, and it's pretty well preserved. So I think it's well worth a wonder. And now that it's stopped raining for the time being, I decide to have a gander in the neighbour's seemingly abandoned enclosure. Ah, look, here we have a traditional doorstep design. It's in the shape of an ancient coin, which is meant to symbolise fertility and also good fortune for this family. This pebbly pattern is just one of the many motifs around the place. Sometimes you have to look down, other times it's up. Check out these 2-century-old windows. So here we have 4 of the symbol 1, which is a very sacred and auspicious symbol that's often seen on the chest of Buddha statues. This one right here. And over here is another window that supposedly depicts the character Fa in Fa Cai, which means prosperity. So I guess the intention was for the wealth and money to flow through those gaps, and the luck to flow through those ones, like the sunlight and the breeze. Some say the Hakka people's attention to feng shui is second to none in the world. It seems to me that it also has something to do with the circulation of qi, or energy. They also decorated their homes with exquisite wooden brick carvings that brought age-old narratives to life. The heyday of Zhoutian village may be long gone, yet so much of its legacy lingers. And believe me, the Hakka spirit still thrives. Coming up next, I'm going to show you why Xunwu rocks. For 1, it's rock temples, and 2, it's rock trade. And it also just generally rocks. My journey upstream along the Pearl River's eastern tributary brings me to Chinlong Scenic area, where I first take a quick break before some serious sightseeing. Okay, it's not exactly quick, as what you're watching is 1,000 times real speed, but I've been told there's a bit of physical activity coming my way later, so I'm conserving my energy. Back on my feet, I follow the tourist route, the river on my left, and to my right, these steep red formations, which you may find familiar if you watched the previous travelogue episode in Shaoguan. Well, of course you did. And you'd know that the first studies of this type of topography were carried out there. So I noticed there's sand on the footpath, which is kind of strange considering we're nowhere near the beach. But if you gaze up, this is the reason why. These are Danxia landforms, or red conglomerate and sandstone. And after years and years of wind erosion, you get the sand. I reckon they're pretty beautiful. It's like a contemporary artist has come down here and dug out all these holes. But actually, it's all work of Mother Nature. Good old Mother Nature. Apparently she's been weathering many of the Danxia landforms unique to China for millions of years. Millions. Suddenly, I stumble across a somewhat random inscription. It says thank you from the people of Hong Kong for their water. So perhaps I should say thank you too. But that's not all. I follow the wafts of incense into a tiny temple, because I know that somewhere in here, amidst the tendrils of grey, is a flight of steps that will lead me closer to heaven. It's like a rabbit warren, except way above ground, and I'm Alice, a little lost but very curious. The grottos, whittled by time and nature, are now holy shrines inhabited by a rather peculiar miscellany of small Buddhist figurines that keep me company as I take in the magnificence of it all. Back on ground level, well, water level, I'm taken on a miniature voyage along the river by a gentleman who prefers his bamboo stick over a paddle. I'll let him do all the work. I've always loved being on the water. There's something therapeutic about it for me. And surrounded by scenes like this, it's impossible not to be wowed. So this section of the river that we're on is pretty much the midway point of the Dongjiang, and it's really green and gorgeous out here, isn't it? But I guess the water seems kind of murky. That's because they're doing some cleanup of the sedimentation further upstream, and also it's been raining recently, so usually it's very clear apparently. That's okay, it's sunny and I'm happy. Just when I thought things couldn't get greener, the Xunwu countryside, nourished by the Dongjiang, is almost a highlighter hue. But right now, we're not here to marvel at bucolic magic. This is business. In these cool, shallow waters of the Pearl River's eastern tributary, a team of men are scavenging for a special type of stone. As usual, I can't resist interfering.
这个都是花了，漂亮。
这不是。
这个不是，这个够不重？也不这么重，这个。这种是。
是这个。
对。
帮我看一下。
这个是。
Eureka！ 这个，所以这个能做成什么东西？
能做很多东西，都能做很漂亮的挂件啊，这些。
是吗？
连手镯都能做。
哦，如果我要做是在哪里做的？
到时候回城里，我带你去做。
真的吗？
真的。
Oh, that is so cool.
好的。
So, I find myself in downtown Riverside Xunwu, looking for a place called Shitou Wenwan Shichang, or Stone Ornaments Market. It turns out that when I finally get there, it's pretty obvious I'm at the right place. Now, I need to entrust the experts with my precious find. Which, after being sawn in half, proves to be the superior stuff they trawl the riverbed for. Meantime, Mr. Yen lets me choose from his desktop which Buddha blueprints I like. Big earlobes, big smile and big belly. Tick, tick, tick. So a lot of people, not just locals, but from all across China, they find that this type of rock collected from the Dongjiang to be really appealing for its colour, its texture, and also the pattern. And this black igneous rock is really popular at the moment. So this marketplace in Xunwu was established specifically for the collection, production, and also the sale of these shiny, shiny, shiny products. Indeed, it hasn't always been about the black. Not too long ago, this variety of yellow-brown stone, also plucked from the Dongjiang, was more on trend. Check out the craftsmanship that's made it a masterpiece. And what about this one? Its polished surface reveals a traditional Chinese ink painting. Yet no human hand was ever lifted. Again, it's all the work of Mother Nature. Quarrying rocks from the Dongjiang is not permitted, so they're all found lying around along the river. Some are valued for their unprocessed uniqueness, and others for their potential to be fashioned into works of art. Nowadays, perhaps in parallel with rising disposable incomes, more and more people are developing a passion for stones. The market here is expanding and attracting non-local collectors who are especially keen on the ebony rock and are keeping Xunwu's shop owners busy.
我们要把我们的优势做出来，把它推向全国，把全国的石油来引进来玩我们Xunwu的石油才是对的。
Moseying around the marketplace, it suddenly strikes me just how vital the Pearl River is. I mean, so many people depend on it for their water, and these men and their families depend on it for their livelihood.
你的挂件做出来了，过来看一下，
Yes.
看看喜不喜欢。
So cool. 喜欢，喜欢，喜欢。
喜欢吧？这个是你选的图案。
对对对。很可爱。
这个是做了一颗石头做了2块。
Oh, sweet.
特别漂亮。
So adorable. Look. Check it out, little chubby Buddhas. Thank you, Pearl River. Coming up next, it gets physical. Really physical. We go deep into the mountains on a mission and find much more than we bargained for. Helmet on, gloves on. Give me a sec while I check the brakes and pedals. Yep, this is getting serious. I've just accidentally joined a cycling club because why not? I'm not acquainted with the muddy, meandering roads here, but these bipedal people are, and they've offered to escort me. You know, I often bike around Beijing, but the capital is flat, and here it's just unrelenting uphill. So between wheezes, I'm wondering why I signed up for this. But hey, it's splendid scenery on these slopes. 这个地方是那个东江源是吗？
是正宗的东江源头。
你们是经常来这里？
一般是这假了吧？是，一般周末啊都会带着家人、小孩都来散散心、游玩游玩。
哦，但是骑自行车呢？
骑自行车也多。
也多吗？
自行车都自行车多了。
哦。Hopefully soon I'll be dropped off for extra lower limb torture, convoyed by a group who know the place even better by foot.
后面的同志注意安全哈，这个独木桥哈。好，注意。
Our advance into the forest is accompanied by the gurgle of water and my groans. I swear, every day at travelogue is leg day. But it's not every day that I get to go and search for the source of the eastern tributary of the Pearl River. Oh. Come on, you can do it. I mean, no one else is whinging. We're in the village of Dongjiang Yuan, Yuan meaning source, in Sanbiao Township. Leading us to one of the 3 main origins of the Pearl River is village head Mr. Zhang, and behind me I have 2 staff members of IUCN, the International Union for the Conservation of Nature, as well as a couple of interested locals. In Sydney, my childhood house had a backyard that merged into a bushland, and one of my favourite things to do as a kid was to go for long bushwalks along the creek. Sure, the vegetation isn't the same here, and the babbling brook in due course supplies water to a population more than 1.5 times that of Australia. But I'm stoked to be doing this. And after 3 hours... 到了吧？到了，真的到了 ！Yeah! My legs are seriously jelly. Oh, I thought I wasn't gonna make it.
东江源头。
对。
东江源头。
这个牌子，那水呢？
就在那边哦，那个
在哪里？
就是那边。好，带你去看一下。又到。
这么小水？
嗯。
哦，原来是这样的。
是吧？就从那里前沿，从那里水，从那里出来。
哦，那水这么小了吗？
是啊，我们已经这里海拔已经很高了，差不多1000米了，所以山顶上几乎没有水了。哦。所以山顶上那个水，它是通过那个地表，流到这里。嗯。据可考组的专家说，东江就发源于这里，这里就是东江源头。
Oh, well, you know what, I don't know what exactly I was expecting, probably some huge oasis or something like that, but I guess big things start small, right, and every drop counts. So, yeah, it's really cool that this little stream of water becomes the 3rd largest river in all of China. Awesome! Yes, the 3rd longest, but it ranks 2nd by volume. It's kind of hard to believe that these droplets of H2O somehow make it all the way to Hong Kong, which is a good 400 or 500 kilometers away. Somehow, I managed to clamber back without collapsing. In fact, I feel more energized for some reason, now that I find what I came to Xunwu for. But I also find something more in this humble hamlet. An environmental education centre run by IUCN, which is also the home of its volunteers, one of whom has been documenting this area for a while. 这些照片都是你拍的吗？
对，就我是当地的志愿者，但同时也是一个摄影师。然后我在这个地方拍照，差不多已经有10年时间了。
有10年了吗？
对，都挺久了。像这些照片都是4、5年前拍的，这些老爷爷都笑得非常开心。
对，老头。对。这个照片有什么故事？有吗？
这个老爷爷我印象非常深刻。他之前呢就非常支持我们的工作，但同时呢他也非常支持环保。他在家里面他自己垃圾会分类。
是吗？
对。
哇。
他之前是没有这个概念，但当地的志愿者还有外面的志愿者来了之后呢，就他越来越有。对，就从自己开始改变的。对，非常可爱。
The centre is basically microscopic compared to the impact it's had since its inception. School children come here to learn about the significance of water and environmental conservation, and adults too. For me, it's a moving moment being here in the presence of young people who are dedicating themselves to safeguarding the natural world. At the source of the Dongjiang, they're a source of inspiration. Gunshu and his colleague take me next door to a Hakka household, the home of a retired primary school teacher and her husband. They tell me that, with some guidance, their day-to-day practices and their old dwelling have become models of sustainable living.
周老师开始做饭了，等会儿。
开始做饭了。
在弄这个菜，这个菜很漂亮，你自己种的？
自己种的。
那等会儿这些菜叶子怎么处理啊？就不要的这些。
菜叶子一般我就丢到那个几棵树底下，当那个肥料啊。
然后就把它埋起来，就做肥料。
是，我放到那个树底下。
After doing the peeling, Miss Zhou obligingly demonstrates her lead-by-example, low-waste-generating ritual. Instead of chucking everything into the rubbish bin, she makes use of organic garbage, even feeding her chooks with it. And they seem quite content. And when it comes to the precious water of the Dongjiang, she's particularly conscientious, aware that her actions here, near the source, potentially affect everyone downstream. Mr. Zhang, the village head, explains what they've done here.
我们村里都做了这个雨污分流这个工程，卫生间的水还有洗衣机的水通过地下管道流到外面，雨水跟那个生活的其他用水就流到旁边这个小池塘里面，池塘里面有很多小鱼小虾，还有水生植物，我们是通过这个自然降解，达到这个排放的这个标准。
I have to admit, it's not the most jaw-dropping place in China, nor is the concept itself groundbreaking. But in villages like this, it's positively pioneering.
这个就是我们的那个一个污水处理器，叫做3个式的一个化粪池。就是污水走到这里以后，通过3个式处理，流出来就是可以用于农家肥的一个沼气水。这个沼气水呢，我们农家都用来把它浇灌果树跟那个蔬菜。
Naturally, Miss Zhou invites us all to eat, with her and her husband. After all the exertion today, I truly reckon there's nothing better than a home-cooked meal made with homegrown produce.
好吃，好吃。一般来讲不打药，不打药。
现在住在县里面，但是也经常回来，照料像农活啊这些东西啊。我们现在整村移民，也住不了很久了。 为了保护这个水源啊，整个村要移出去。
It's bittersweet news to hear. I'm sure for the locals, coming terms to having to move hasn't been easy. But, as Ms. Zhou says, for the sake of the Dongjiang, it's worth it. Born and raised on the world's driest inhabited continent, Australia, I grew up with water awareness, and restrictions were just a part of life. But I'd never really given much thought to the massive importance of a river source until Xunwu. 40 million lives depend on it. I've seen it now, and understand. Well, we've come this far to this riverside county of Xunwu, but did we find what we were searching for? We sure did, and so much more, from Hakka communities to rock temples, rock marketplaces. But I think more importantly, we discovered that things are being done in terms of conservation here, that, concerted efforts are being made to protect the environment surrounding the source of the Dongjiang. After all, water is a vital resource for our survival. Well, this is the end of my Pearl River journey, but for you, lucky you, you're headed to Guangxi province, where you'll be exploring the Xizang, or the western tributary of the Pearl River. My name is Zhui. Catch you next time on Travelogue, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your Pearl River adventures.